Hello. How is everybody? All right, so this is where my story begins. This is Billy, and Billy works at the Walmart in Clayton, Georgia. I have a home up in Raven County, and I see Billy quite a bit. Billy is integral to my story today. Do y'all recognize Billy? How about now? That's right. According to the Motion Picture Association of America, Georgia is now the third busiest film and television production center in the United States. How did this happen? Where did it start? Deliverance, a $2 million movie, which even in 1972 was considered to be a low-budget movie. So in 1973, Governor Jimmy Carter started our film office. He saw that a lot of money was coming from out of state to a very poor, very rural part of the state, and he wanted to figure out how to get more of it. Well, today's talks are about bold moves. It was a bold move to take a movie like Deliverance and to not only shy away from it, but to start an office to get more like it. So what happened after Deliverance? We got The Longest Yard, we got Cannonball Run, we got Smokey and the Bandit, we got Smokey and the Bandit 2, we got Sharky's Machine, we even got some movies without Burt Reynolds in them. We got Driving Miss Daisy and Glory and The War, My Cousin Vinny, the list goes on and on. Now, these were not all Academy Award-winning films by any means. There were some real clunkers in there. But the point is, we were busy. The major location centers of New York and Los Angeles, the producers and the studios wanted to come to Georgia for two reasons. They wanted a different look for their films, and they wanted it cheaper. So Georgia was busy, and the busier we got, the more our infrastructure grew. More and more film companies moved to Georgia and set up shop, and a lot more crew became trained. But the problem was, when the more the business continued, the higher the price went up. And also, the more difficult it became to work in Georgia. So when I started at the film office, and it's been some time now, everything was location-driven. We spent a tremendous amount of time trying to find the perfect locations for a film. We actually went out with 35-millimeter cameras and film and shot them and took them to Wolf Photo and stripped them all together and FedExed them to the West Coast or New York. Then the business changed. Instead of a movie company or a production studio looking for the exact best place for their film, they were looking for the place where their money would go the furthest. And from those, the markets that they determined their money would go the furthest, they would pick a location based on that. In 1996, Canada came along. And what they did was start enticing financial incentives in order to lure production across the border. And it worked. The impact of runaway production to Canada by 1998 was $10.3 billion. And 42% of all television production was being shot outside the United States. Well, that really hurt Georgia. Georgia had been, our bread and butter had become the movie of the week market. So our business was really down. So in 2003, we spent a tremendous amount of time trying to get the feature film Ray to shoot in Georgia. Ray Charles was a native Georgian, so we felt like we had a great shot at it. And then they came and they set up a production office, so we thought we had it in the bag. And then Louisiana happened, a very aggressive tax incentive, and Ray closed their office and picked up and left. So we had already lost a good bit of business to Canada, and we had had a lot of our movie companies pick up and move because of lack of business. And a lot of our trained crew was either going on to other careers or they were moving to busier markets. But Ray was really the final straw. So it was time for another bold move or time to get out of the business entirely. So in 2005, the Georgia legislature, in an attempt to help us compete with Louisiana and Canada, started a tax incentive. The problem with this tax incentive was it was a tiered system. It was very convoluted, complicated, and producers had a hard time budgeting with it. So in 2008, they changed it. They went to a straight 20% or 30% tax incentive with a minimum $500,000 spent. And this was easy for producers to understand. It was built on a sound fiscal note, and it offered promotional value for the state. So what happened? In 2007, we were at $244 million of economic impact. By 2014, most of which in the middle of a recession, we were at $5.1 billion. It really worked. Currently, or as of last year, according to the Motion Picture Association of America, 77,900 Georgians are directly or indirectly in the film industry, and it's still not enough. The unions are training people, and now we are establishing a Georgia Film Academy. It will be certificate-based. It will be a partnership between the university system of Georgia and the technical system of Georgia. A lot of the classes will have free tuition for the positions that we need the most, and we think that that's really going to help get people into the industry. In addition to the money generated by the film industry, we've seen a tremendous amount of new infrastructure. In 2007, we had one studio offering soundstage space. That was Riverwood. Now, the U.S. presence of Pinewood, the first U.S. presence of Pinewood, that's home to the Harry Potter movies and the James Bond movies. It's synonymous with filmmaking. They're based out of the UK. They're now in Fayetteville, Georgia. They have 12 sound stages already built, and they'll have 31 at completion. Tyler Perry will be taking over the old decommissioned Fort McPherson. The Shannon Mall has been raised in Union City to make way for soundstage space. If you've been out to the old Lakewood Fairgrounds, the flea market's gone. It's now EUE Screen Gems. In Norcross, Eagle Rock has just opened 4 stages out there, and less than a half a mile away, they will have 1 million square feet of the old OFS facility will be transformed into Atlanta Media Campus. Just 2 weeks ago, they announced that the old GM plant will become Third Rail Studios. In addition to the sound stages, a tremendous amount of companies have moved to the state. Over 100 new companies have located or been created in the state to support this business. And the important thing to remember is none of these companies get the tax credits. The stages don't get the tax credits, and the service providers don't get the tax credits. They're just here because we're busy. And when a movie shows up in the state or a television series, they immediately start spending money and hiring people. And they spend it on hotels and cameras and lumber. The list goes on and on. In 2012, MPAA member companies alone spent $696 million with 4,066 vendors in the state. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of different businesses getting it. Last year, the Marvel film Iron Man shot here, and they paid for nearly 25,000 hotel room nights. You think about what that does to our hospitality industry in Georgia when last year we had 158 projects. And sometimes the money that you see spent on the ground to make a television series or to make a movie is not the big money, it's not the big impact. This is Sonoy. Before the AMC hit series, Walking Dead, moved to the town of Sonoy, there were 6 storefronts. Now there are 47 storefronts there. People literally come from all over the world to drink coffee at the Waking Dead coffee shop, to take zombie tours, to shop at the Woodbury store. A friend of mine is a location manager on that show, and recently he got to set, and there was a family standing there with a sign that said, "Please stop, we came from Finland." So that's what that has the power to do. But back to Deliverance. So, like I said, Deliverance was a low-budget movie, a $2 million movie. However, it increased the tourism into the area by tens of thousands. In fact, Claude Terry, who was the stunt double for John Voight, called Warner Brothers after the movie wrapped. He said he wanted to buy the whitewater rafting equipment. He then founded what is the oldest whitewater rafting adventure company on the Chattooga River. So by 2012, Whitewater rafting was a $20 million a year industry in the region, and tourism was the #1 revenue driver for Rabun County. Georgia is rich in entertainment resources. Over 500 companies, entertainment companies, call the state home. So what do we do next? What is our next bold move? Well, our universities are increasingly training students to go into this industry. We see talented students in the area of arts, music, computer generation, film, and soon we will have this dedicated film academy. Our hopes are that we are developing the next generation of storytellers and content creators. But what should Georgia do next? We need to distribute product, not to theaters or to movie or to television stations, but through fiber to World Wide Webs. Because anybody with an internet connection and a Netflix account understands that traditional methods of distribution have undergone a paradigm shift. So, what is the importance of distribution? Well, financing follows distribution. If you have financing, you have the distribution, and we will have the creative, and then we are creating an indigenous market. When you talk about financing, the things that they're looking for are reduced risk through incentives and guaranteed distribution. And Atlanta is considered to be one of the top 5 wired cities consistently because of the fiber optic network that we laid for the Olympics. So Georgia producers, directors, financiers will all have a chance to tell their own stories with their own unique voice. And that is the ultimate fruit of our labor here. Thank you.